part of our morning show right here. It is the Friday broadcast of our programming right here on the Flow of God's Own State, Flow 94.9 FM. Welcome to the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions. We delve into those issues, we dissect them for you, affecting different sectors of the country, and of course with an analyst so that you can make better decisions in the nearest future. It is still part of our morning show right here, the one we call Morning Spice on the Flow of God's Own State, Flow 94.9 FM. My name is Michael Oni. Now this morning, what are we talking about? We're still revisiting the ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, but this time around we're taking it from the perspective of the students. What are the students saying? What is their reaction to their lecturers going on strike? And that will be that will be the basis of our conversation this morning, even as we talk to the SUG president, as that's the Student Union Government president of the major public universities in Abia State, the Michael Opara University of Agriculture, Umudike, and also the Abia State University, Uturu. So welcome on board. Over the decades, threats of strikes by the Academic Staff Union of Universities and the one they've gone to, and even other sister unions, more like the anchor point, the biggest biggest of the issues that have continued to haunt our tertiary educational system. Strike in the educational system started way back in the 70s, and yet no regime, no administration has found a lasting solution to them. It is quite unfortunate. Main cause of work stoppages is the Memorandum of Understanding, the one reached between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, the one in charge of the university lecturers in 2009, which was never implemented. Series of strikes always ended with the federal government giving assurances during negotiations. Asuu'S also went on one of its most protracted strikes. That was March 2022, just before the coronavirus pandemic lockdowns, and the union eventually called off the strike in December last year after the unimplemented MOU, which was renamed Memorandum of Action. And it is now 14 months since, and yet the federal government only released 55 billion naira to address the partially addressed issues of earned allowances and the university revitalization, and the promise to deploy the University Transparency and Accountability Solution, the UTAS, in the payment of their salaries, not the IPs, rather the federal government's payroll system, to ensure academic freedom, has not been implemented. And quite unfortunate, very little has been done about the issue of poor funding of state universities and promotion arrears and others. Asuu'S struggle is aimed, according to the union, at bringing the welfare of its members up to date with modern realities to foster staff commitment. And it also wants the universities to be upgraded in terms of facilities to rival their peers in other parts of the world, where our ruling class and the wealthy individuals sent their children to enjoy sound education. They want the Nigerian university also, the university system, to be restored to enable it to attract students from other parts of the world, which was the case in the 60s and the 70s. So we see Asuu'S struggle, as many persons have seen it as the right cause for the education system to thrive in Nigeria. And many are saying if it doesn't happen now, the education system will collapse. Let's listen to the Minister of Education, Adamu, what he said. That's the latest. In fact, the Minister of Labor and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, came up and said the lecturers are only on leave. They are not on strike. But let's listen to Adamu. That's the Minister, Malam Adamu, the Minister of Education.
As for, unfortunately, they've gone on strike, and I'm just looking for them because all the issues are being addressed. The last thing that happened was the committee that looked at their demands, the renegotiation that is going on, and they submitted a draft agreement which the ministry is looking at. The committee is looking at it. Immediately it finishes, the government will announce what it has accepted of that. Then suddenly I had them going on strike. So I'm looking for us. I always call the meeting myself. The meeting that I didn't attend was when I was in hospital in Germany. Because the federal government is ready to meet them on all the issues they have raised.
We need liberalization in our educational system. Most of our labs are stocked with old facilities. We need modern facilities to measure up with the people, with other universities outside the country. So we need the federal government to sort whatever issue they are having with Asuu'S, with the university union, so that we can go back peacefully to our classroom and graduate as at when we are supposed to graduate.
Asuu'S appears to be the last man standing. Once Asuu'S falls, public education, especially university education, will crumble in this country. So we are calling on everyone, apart from the students, everyone else should come out and prevail on the government and compel them to honor a simple agreement that they entered into with the union.
Fantastic. You heard reactions from some students of the University of Benin there. Yesterday was day 2 of the student blocking the Benin Lagos highway in solidarity with Asuu'S. But this morning, let's get perspective, because last week we had Professor Osodeke on this program, the national president of Asuu'S. But let's get the perspective of the students. What do they think? Is it in their interest, and how can we find a lasting solution to this Asuu'S strike, which we believe should be avoided at all costs? Let's begin the conversation this morning. I'm bringing a student on board. Let's get the perspective of the students and what they think about this, how they are receiving this shocking news of being delayed in school because the maybe perceived insincerity of the government to the plight of the lecturers. Joining me this morning is a comrade, student union president of the Michael Opara University of Agriculture, Comrade Chukwuma Ogochukwu. Comrade, glad to have you join us. He's the SUG president of MOAU right here in Abia State. Glad to have you join us. Good morning to you and welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you so much.
All right. How did you receive the news of your lecturers going on strike once again? Last year, it was a very unfortunate one that disrupted the academic calendar. We're back again.
Yes, it is true that Nigerian system have made it look like any student that is in a university must experience Asuu'S strike. And it is so painful that we have been in school over the years. I could have graduated years ago, I would say, but up to now, I'm still in school. It is so painful. It is so painful. But then, we always say when two elephants are fighting, it's the grass that suffers that. And we, the students, are practically the grass here, because most of us should have graduated, and the Asuu'S thing, and then the federal government not fulfilling their promises. The whole thing is just affecting the system. Meanwhile, Nigerian government is not really putting interest in education system. That is the most important thing they need to start working on, because those of them in private schools, most of them have graduated and forgotten that they went to school and every other thing. But then we in this school called government schools, we are not getting that impact.
But do you see this fight as a fight in the right direction? Because you've analyzed that the students are the grass here in this contest. Do you see it as a fight in the right direction? Is it in the interest of the student?
Some time ago, when they were doing a day a day off program, no school something, they gave me a letter. I was suggesting to the chapter chairman. I told him, if there is any other thing, if there is any other strategy we can make use of than going on strike, because me as a final year student should have been graduating in maybe 2 months time from here, but then I'm still on campus. So I think the only thing that could be done is if the federal government just listen to them. It's to our own good. It's not even about the lecturers, because our students they will definitely benefit from it. Some of the facilities we have is 2012, 2011, all those things, 2013. Does that mean that we don't have 2020, 2021? stop this. And I plead to the federal government to please look into the education system. You know, I'm studying education in school, and that is why we pay really so hard that the Nigerian system of government, system of education is very, very poor.
Okay, let's look at some of the grievances of your lecturers, and are they genuine enough to go on strike? It seems they are fighting for you, according to their grievances, according to some of those issues they are raising with the government.
Okay, if they really want to go on strike, is that the question?
Yes, I'm asking. Do you think they are genuine enough for them to go on strike?
I will see here that the lecturers, they really want to go on strike, because one or two persons I've spoken with, they said they don't even know what their salary is. That sometimes they will pay the fraction of money, and then they will pay another thing altogether. So I think looking at that, from the people I've met, they really want to go on the strike.
Okay, let's talk about the infrastructure. I mean, those facilities in the university system as we speak today, because that's actually one of the reasons they said they are going on strike. Poor funding of the university system, which is affecting the good delivery of lectures by some of these lecturers. Is that correct? What is the situation in your school?
I will always say that I will still appreciate my vice chancellors over the years, and then my present vice chancellor, Professor Iwe, who is trying his best to put all these things in place. It is not easy. If you don't have money, you cannot do things. But I so much appreciate him trying to put some things in place. So in our school, I would say it is comfortable to an extent, but things need to be done.
Things need to be done. What and what? I want practical examples.
Hello, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me? I want practical examples this morning. How are your lecture halls? Are they always crowded like we've seen in some other universities? Do you have enough of those? Because these are some of the grievances of the lecturers. They are saying that how will a lecturer not well paid compared to what we have in some other countries, not even countries that should not be even compared to Nigeria, and yet you teach a lecturer teaching over 200 students, shouting, and without public address system? We don't even have enough lecture halls. What is the situation of those facilities that you have, for example, in your university, in Michael Opara University of Agriculture, a federal university?
Yeah, you know, the truth about life is nothing lasts forever. But then the facilities we have are not too good, are not too much. But then the classrooms which we have, we are making use of them. And just like I said earlier, my vice chancellor and every other thing every other thing is doing is just focused on establishing some certain things which he can to accommodate all the students. So nothing is not too good for us to handle. But then I'm still asking the federal government to work on all those things so that at least we'll have the good facilities. Okay,
has the strike started affecting academic activities in your university, Michael Opara University of Agriculture? So the lecturers are not attending the classes.
Day before yesterday, we had a meeting with them, the chapter, and then they declared that they are joining the strike.
Wow. Okay, just before I let you go, this is actually on a side note, because I had a conversation with Professor Sodeke, and he's a lecturer in that university, and he happens to be
my professor.
Yeah, he happens to be the national president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, and he wasn't so comfortable with the set of SUGs, not your school now, I mean across the nation, that SUGs should be scrapped. That was what he said, that they are not so active like back in the day when he was in the university, back in the 60s and 70s, fighting for the rights of the students, saying in some cases, in some states, SUG, student union, now appendage of the government in power in such states. I don't know how you want to react to this, Comrade Chukuma.
I will say my prof have always tried to engage me in one or two things, to talk to me about some certain things. But then I am looking at the system which we have now. You know, the present things we experience is really affecting that movement, because it just looks as if we are trying and then nothing is happening. So if that force was there before, looking at it now, I think we have been putting in our best, just like when this protest of a thing came up. And then we find out that any small thing now will venture into protest, because I think we have seen that this protest is the thing that can make things work out. So I think the student union bodies are just looking at this from this perspective of trying to harmonize things, not using violence. So that is why it seems it is not being effective.
But do you think we still need SUGs, because it seems not so active like we had back in the day, according to Professor? It's saying that how can some universities be collecting acceptance fee, which is not constitutional, which is not expected, which is not recognized by the government, and yet just a way of finding a way to fund universities, and the SUGs are keeping quiet. Some other issues, just an example, saying they are not as active as they should in the fighting for the rights of the student.
I so much believe, and I know that SUG in schools, they are needful. They are needful. I appreciate my Vice Chancellor who had to take out this acceptance fee of a thing, and I've appreciated him so much about that. And SUG being in school, these are the mediators. These are the people the students see to talk to tell them these are my issues, these are our problems. And then it is more easier having a student union government on campus than not having them at all, because it will look like students can wake up one morning and do what they want to do, and nobody will help the program or any other thing. Just like when we had the protest, which I know you are aware, we found out that we had to shut down the whole road. But then, if the president was not there, you find out that the whole thing will look scattered. People will be raising head from this side, raising head from this side. But then, naturally, they have seen that this is the president. So I think student union body, student union government is very, very necessary. It's very, very necessary.
All right, Comrade Chukwuma Ogochukwu, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning on the platform on Flow FM. We do appreciate you.
You're welcome.
All right. It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions right here on Flow 94.9 FM. This is the Flow of God's Own State. And of course, we're still looking at the ongoing strike, the strike by the university lecturers. And how are the students receiving their strike? Well, what do they think about the strike? Do they even think that the lecturers are fighting on their behalf, or it is for selfish interest? And is it the right cause, or are there other ways that they can channel their grievances to the authorities, the federal government, the Ministry of Education, without it disrupting the academic system, especially in universities? It's unfortunate. It is an unfortunate situation in Nigeria, where a 4-year course will take about 7-8 years for a student to graduate because of the disruption in the education system. Anyways, I'm going to speak to one other student. The SUG president of the Abia State University will be joining me. But let's take a break, and when we return, the conversation continues right here on Flow 94.9 FM. It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM. This is the Flow of God's Own State, and we're talking education this morning, looking at the students' perspective to the ASUU running strike. We've heard from the lecturers, and a lot of reactions coming from the parents on our feedback platforms. But what about the students? My first guest on the program said they are the grass suffering in this situation. It was quite unfortunate anyways. And one will be asking how effective will this strike be, looking at the previous strikes by this union. The union went on a 6-month strike in 2013. In 2014, it embarked on a 1-week strike. In 2017, it went on another strike that lasted 36 days. In 2020, it went on another strike, a 9-month strike, the protracted one, the longest one. And the list of strikes is endless. Yet the reasons for the actions are still there. And the only justification for Asuu'S strikes over the years is the non-implementation of signed agreements dating back to 2009. Let's move on. I'm bringing another person here, another student, to share his thoughts this morning, what the students feel about this university. The SUJ president, as the Student Union Government President of the Abia State University, Uturu, Comrade Anocha Ugonna Noble. Comrade, glad to have you join us. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
All right, thank you so much. Good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning to you. How did you receive the news? How did the student of Abia State University, Uturu, received the news?
Personally, for me and my students here, the news is not a good one. Like you earlier said, we are the grass suffering it. You know, you can't just be coming to university a course of 4 years, you end up doing it 5 years. It's disheartening. It's very appalling. The situation is not good at all. So the students are not happy about the strike. We all want to graduate and move ahead with our life, with the profession we are here for.
Interesting. So are your lecturers on strike? Level of compliance to the Asuu'S strike in your new university is what you're asking now?
Yes, we are on strike. We joined the Asuu'S strike. Had Asuu'S met yesterday afternoon. So after more deliberations, they joined the strike.
Quite unfortunate. So what do you make of this strike? Do you think it is the step in the right direction to reshape the education system, especially our public tertiary institutions? Because that's one of the issues being raised by the university lecturers.
Well, when you look at their agitations and what they are fighting for, you find out that it's all for the good of the university. I don't know if you understand. It's all for the growth of the education system. But then we are still the one suffering this whole drama. We are still the one that is going to suffer it on the long run. But the federal government should come to the aid of these our lecturers. This agreement has been since 2009. That is when this agitation all started. So they should come to the aid of these our lecturers, and in solidarity, the students are saying yes. What they are fighting for is right. We need more pet fund projects in school, and the university at large needs to be good. We need our well-being is very paramount here.
Okay,
so the federal government has to come in and look into it, because most of their kids, their children and all, I believe that most of them are not in our Nigerian universities here. I don't know if you understand, most of them are not here. So if I thought that most of them were here, I don't think we should be having this issue of Asuu'S strike. You send your words to United States of America when lecturers here cannot even afford to pay for their kids' school fees. It's not proper. We have to be realistic in the things we are doing.
Interesting. So you're in solidarity with your lecturers, and do you think this will be the end if the federal government fails to yield into some of their grievances and what they are asking, some of their agitations rather this time? Do you think they should stay there till the federal government listens to them, at the detriment of you staying and not going to school and delaying your graduation in school? Do you support that?
No, I'm not. I'm not actually in support. I'm not actually in support of that. But then I heard something from the Asuu'S handle, and I feel that if the federal government can come to discussion with them, that they don't mind coming up the strike in a week's time. I don't know if you understand.
I'm getting.
This is a matter of making someone feel important and making the person know that yes, what we are asking for is necessary. I think Asuu'S just wants. I don't think they need everything at the same time, but then just want a kickoff for this. And I know that most of them as well, their children are in Nigerian universities, and they wouldn't like them
Okay,
stay at home
the
forever.
agitation of ASUNA and the lecturers in relation to what you've seen on ground, especially in your university, talking about the facilities, and someone said if ASU doesn't get what they want now, it looks like that's the end about the public university system that we run in the country. It's going to collapse totally. So in relation to that, do you think with what you've seen on ground, do you have the facilities?
Do we have the facilities?
Do you have the infrastructural facilities to ensure that you have a smooth running of the university system, especially in Abia State University, Uturu?
Well, one thing about life is that change is constant. And you cannot be here and say that this is the big issue. I don't know if you understand.
Okay.
You cannot have this. That is why people change from, take for instance, people that have iPhone. Maybe you have iPhone 5. Tomorrow iPhone 6 comes out. You want to upgrade to iPhone 6. After iPhone 6, iPhone 7 might come out. You would like to upgrade to iPhone 7. So change is paramount. What we have now, if we can have more, it is fantastic. What we get tomorrow, if we can get something better than that, it is fantastic.
So just before I let you go, because I need to get reactions from the phone lines, what do you make of the vibrancy of SUGs across public universities in Nigeria? As we speak, some students are saying we don't even know if the SUG is there or not. That has been their reaction. I knew what I went through before we got your contact, and some do not even know who is the president of their SUG. I mean, it's quite unfortunate, and I'm asking, if this is the situation, do we still need SUG? How often do they fight for the right of the students in the university, like what we have back in the day in the 60s and 70s?
Well, like you earlier said, back in the days then, maybe you had maybe at 2000, 2002 or 2001, absolutely maybe they had only 10 departments, maybe 5 faculties and all. I don't know if you understand.
Okay.
But presently, we have many departments, more people are coming to the university. Maybe at that time, most persons weren't in the university, and maybe they could possibly know who this person is, who that person is. But then my phone number is everywhere. You can't actually say that students will say they don't have my contact. So if you don't have my contact, you must have the contact of maybe the Students' Union PRO. I don't know if you understand.
I'm getting you.
So you don't expect every student in the university to say yes, that they know who, they have the contact of the president,
yes,
or something like that. But they must have your name, but not all of them will have your contact. But your contact is still everywhere. But maybe when they have issues, most times when students look for our contact is when issues arise. That's just practically the truth.
But do you still
Unless
fight? Do you still fight for their right? Like we have some civil society groups outside the walls of the university fighting for the rights of the common man. That's the way students perceive SUG to be, to fight for their rights. The things that they are not happy about, they share it with the union, the ESCOs, and the ESCOs will go ahead and table it to the university authorities. Do we still have the same?
Of course, the position of the students from government, wherever you find yourself, is that you are a mediator. You are between the students and the school management. You relate information to the students, and you also relate information to the school management. You are the middleman between the both of them. So, and it is statutory, it can't change.
All right. Comrade Anocha Ugonna Nobel, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning. We will return to you as event unfolds concerning this strike action and backed upon by your lecturers. Thank you for speaking to us this morning on the platform on Flow FM.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. So let's get to hear from you. You as a student, what do you make of this strike? Let me hear from you this morning. Are you happy that you're at home? Do you think your lecturer should sit there and ensure that this will be the last of all the strikes? Because every time you go on strike, you come back and you return and say the federal government has not agreed to some of those issues we tabled, and the federal government comes back, do partial implementation, and you go back again. So what do you make of this strike anyways? The lines are very much open right here. You can drop your comment also on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Flow949FM, and you can also share your thoughts with me on our feedback platforms. On this, the phone lines are 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. You can also drop messages on 0906 510 8289. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
Calling from Omaya.
All right, TK Chuku.
This strike of a train in Nigeria, it has gone to the point that Nigeria other federal institutions need to be privatized. You know what I'm telling you? Because what government can do is to map out yearly educational fund, like in form of scholarship. Most institutions, tertiary institutions, it's not a must that everybody will go to university.
Affordable education is already expensive in the country. Do you think it will be good to privatize all the universities we have in the country without subsidizing for the poor man, for those in the middle class?
See what I'm saying in essence is that most schools in abroad, they do it by scholarship funding. That amount you allocate in education that we don't know what they use it to spend, put it on a scholarship that every year you fund 75% of your students on a scholarship, not full scholarship. You know what I'm telling you? If the school fees is like 50,000 naira or 100,000, government can rather take up to 60,000 naira funding. You know what I'm telling you? For their own citizens.
All right.
You get what I'm saying?
All right.
The problem in Nigeria is that they collect a lot of tax. They don't know how to spend it.
All right. Let's get more reactions on the phone line. So thank you very much. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform.
Yeah, good morning, Michael.
You're welcome.
Thank you. My name is Comrade Manuel Oko. I'm calling from Aba.
All right, comrade.
Michael, the truth of the matter is so-called leaders have disappointed us. There's no two ways about it. In the situation where we find ourselves in the country, where House of Assembly members, Federal House of Rep, senators, ministers, governors, and presidents, their children is out of the country, so that they can't do the needful. They use our money and fund their children there. How can an institution, how can a government, who the priority of the masses is supposed to be their number one thing, is very, very pathetic. Michael, until when Nigerians will put it in our law that any position you are holding, so far as it's a government sponsored, all your children must school in Nigeria, this issue of Asuu'S will not stop, because they know whether imagine a former current Minister of Labour saying that Asuu'S wants a leave. Imagine such embarrassment.
All right.
When Emeka Wogu be our brother, Emeka Wogu, former Minister of Labour and Productivity, manage that office very, very well. I am highly supported in Igige.
All right.
Let them do the needful, because Nigeria belongs to all of us. Have a wonderful morning.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Let's get more reactions on the phone lines. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome. Who's a man no day?
I'm calling from Omaya. I want to appreciate the two SUGs that you called. One from Omodike, one from Asuu'S. They are trying their best. And secondly, schools are there. Whether I keep saying, even before this time now, that when two elephants fight, it is the girl that suffers it. So I am not totally in support of Asuu'S. going on strike. Like the one of Umudike, what he said, most of them that are supposed to graduate by that have 4 years or 3 years course, 4 years or 5 years course, you see them extending it to 7 years, 6 years, 7 years, most times 8 years, which is not supposed to be so. I believe that if no amount of negotiation that will make federal government on their own to pay all the promises that they've made to us. So they should have been managing it. And what Professor Sadeke says sometimes, it makes me to remember, when I passed through Mugike, he is as the Asuu'S president, as Asuu'S national president today. He's still the director of CEC and the ones that see the activities of the postgraduates. How good are the students under his watch doing in that school today? Most of them have been delayed. Their results have been delayed. I said it in one of these platforms and the campus in this station the other time. He is not supposed to be holding two positions at the same time. No, most times they come out and say this and say that. When the ones that are having have issues. So they should look into it. I'm begging them to come off the side so as to enable these students graduate. And federal government may not be able to give their funding. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Enoch Ekuru, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah.
There was a question you asked the SED president. You asked him whether ASUU was fighting for the students' welfare with their strike action or what would that be said. In my own opinion, ASUU does not fight for students' welfare as claimed by one of its representatives. I have this stand because the students are the ones. It's a full brunt of the strike action. The action always brings about academic hindrance, just as your first guest pointed out, that he himself also has been also have passed out. But he was still there as a result of incessant strike actions and backed upon by ASUU. So you can see that it is not actually for their welfare. However, it is the government that deserves blame for reaching agreement and later fails to implement it.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Keep those comments coming. Ezekiel Elvis on our Facebook page says, brand new morning, Michael. ASUU going on strike again is a total shame on the present APC administration. Most times, one will begin to wonder if this country is actually going forward or backward. What kind of a country is this, where the basic foundation of education is always neglected? Hello, good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm Joseph calling from Dawson.
You're welcome, Mr. Joseph.
I pity the students on this very ASUU strike. But I'm in support of ASUU. It's unfortunate somebody will climb a ladder and when they go there, you throw away the ladder so that others will not climb. All these ministers and our legislators, including our head of state anyway, they all attended the universities. And with their eyes, they are seeing the standard of our universities and our graduates now, what they are. Over the years, we've been hearing they are negotiating as we go on strike. Doctors and nurses will go on strike. They say they are negotiating. And they will fail to implement that agreement they made. And we had us to shout all this while that they will go on strike, and we should hold government accountable. The meaning began this other are talking a different thing. Didn't they hear when they are saying all these things? And where are our religious leaders? Where are our chiefs? And all this that? They should talk to this government, or they should settle them, because their children are not at schooling in Nigeria. That's why they do all these things. Right. They should call them not to go to worry us to go back to this thing. They should call the government to see honor the agreement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph from Umbise. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
This is Victor Emmanuel Ndeboka, and I'm calling from Amekide.
You're welcome, Mr. Victor.
Yes, Mike, it is surprising that the federal government is still reneging on their promises during the last ASUU strike. I expect them to know that our universities are in a very horrible situation. When the students complained about old materials being in stock within their research libraries, what they mean is that if you look at the obsolete materials, they are not in tandem with what is sustainable for a developmental purpose this time. Most of the materials that you find in the ivory towers, they are obsolete. What the federal government needs to do is to look at the universities, bring it to the standard that is required with modern times, with 21st century. That is what I expect a government to do. And if they don't know exactly what to do in the Ministry of Education, let them create a commission and charge that commission with the responsibility of bringing the standard of education to the level it requires. Because the bedrock of every development is education. Before you begin to talk of every other thing, let them make the educational institution from primary through secondary school to the university. You will see that Nigeria will become functional. The issue of tribalism, the issue of dragging for presidency, look at the vast land that Nigeria has. There is quite a lot of resources to tap in Nigeria. But our leaders, they don't have the knowledge. And they wouldn't like people that have the knowledge to occupy those responsible positions and initiate policies and programs that will be in tandem with development that is obtaining in any part of the world.
All right,
that is what we expect them. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much. You do appreciate. Akobundu Richard on the Facebook page says, my name is Comrade Akobundu Richard, a student of Abia State University. The strike of a thing is really affecting Nigerian students. Please, I want the federal government to look into this, and secondly, let them consider that parents are suffering because of this. Tochuku, that's on the Facebook page, says, what do you expect when you have set of leaders who don't care about the people? Also divide Festus Ikechuku also on the Facebook page says, if ASUU is going on strike to bring an end to this persistent strike, then let them hold on to it. We will be fine while they dig it out with the federal government. That's another perspective to this. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello.
Good morning, welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Michael. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us on the platform on Flow FM.
Thank you. My name is Ojuwane Paul. I'm calling from Omaya. Actually, I am a student of Cross River University of Technology, Calabar.
Oh, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So you're on strike as we speak?
Yeah, seriously, on a very serious note, this government, they are really discouraging us. I'm currently on my IT and from my hand. They're really discouraging us. You know, I just passed one part of this morning and I saw that people on the road. They are really waiting for Yahoo boys. Who are the Yahoo boys? They are students, frustrated ones. They are really, this government is really giving, I don't know, they are just supporting these people and everything. They don't know what they are doing. They are really frustrating.
Oh, if you can call back to finalize your thoughts, I will appreciate. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
It's a bad opportunity. I'm calling from Oman.
You're welcome, Mr. Okafo.
Okay, I think the best thing to settle out is public talking holders to start accessing public facilities. And this is the only way they can concentrate and do the needful on what we have here. Then I know for us to let them bear in mind that for now, the government is not ready to meet up with all their demands. So whatever that may come up, let them consider this and do their own part also to follow. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, S. Conon from Asuu'S. That's you're sharing your thoughts on the Facebook page with the handle Chinedu Samuel. The education system in Nigeria is dwindling and headed towards a total oblivion. If the federal government prioritizes education across the country, these incessant actions of strike would have long been settled. Evidently, all their needs cannot be met at once, but if the federal government sees education as something important, they would have tried. They have been trying to meet up with their demands, and with a period of time their agreements must have fully been met. Unfortunately, the strike cannot be averted until their needs are met. Meanwhile, the final years are appealing. I believe you are a student, so he says, meanwhile the final years are appealing to the lecturers to give preference to the graduating class to do their project and thesis defense. We've had enough of the strike already. Imagine a 6 years course metamorphosing into 8 years course. Not a good one. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Good morning.
Okay, my name is Obonna Goshu. I'm a student of Mekalapa University.
You're welcome, Obonna.
Yeah, you see, very soon now they'll start saying Yahoo boys this, Yahoo boys that. That students are doing this, students are doing that. All these things, they say they are fighting for the students. Are they really fighting for the students, or are they fighting for the students? I know that in our schools, there's so many things have really gone wrong. But look at us, we've been in school for how many years now? Almost 6 years. In 4 years plus. It's not fair. Please. I'm supposed to be graduating like in 2 months from now. But this Asuu'S I just started now. And we don't even know when the next is going to end. I don't know what the government is trying to do with Asuu'S. Even the Asuu'S and the government, they just try and say, I'm tired. They just, do you know the worst thing? The worst thing is, you don't even know when the strike is ending.
It's a 4-week warning strike, which will last for just a month. A 4-week first. Hopefully, federal government will see to whatever the issue.
That was how the last one started.
Yes.
1 week warning strike. It now lasted for 10 months. The last one was just 1 week warning strike. Now it's on 10 months strike. This one now is 1 month warning strike. You don't even know when it's going to end. That's another problem. And you might say, let you now venture into something else. But you know, they will not call up the strike. And you might now relax. After 1 month, they will not call up the strike.
All right.
That's another
Thank you very much, Obonna, for sharing your thoughts with us and your perspective about this conversation. We need to step out of the studio already. We've got Midas Touch coming up top of the hour. This one says, Godfrey Kalu, not until a law is made compelling the children of our politicians in school to school in Nigerian public universities. Asuu'S strike will continue. All right, we're done with the show today. Thank you very much for joining us. The platform returns on Monday for another topic to dissect right here on the flow of God's own state. Many thanks to my producer, Samson Eze and Ezine Okoro, and also the guys behind the visuals on our Facebook page, Stanley and Chinedu. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay out of trouble. We will keep our tabs on, of course, keep our ears on ground for you, student, and we'll bring you up to speed as far as this Asuu'S and federal government tussle is concerned, right here on the flow of God's own state. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions. My name is Michael Oni. Do enjoy the rest of your day.